The story opens at a packed idol concert. Thousands of fans cheer as two rising stars command the stage with overwhelming charisma. One radiates bright energy and endless enthusiasm, while the other captivates the audience with a cool and elegant presence. Together, they form the idol duo Diamond. Among the crowd, however, one boy watches with a complicated expression. His name is Kazuma Kazuhara. While everyone around him sees two untouchable celebrities standing on stage, Kazuma sees something completely different. Because Setsuna and Arisa aren't just famous idols to him. They're his childhood friends. As the concert reaches its finale and the crowd erupts into thunderous applause, Kazuma realizes something. The two girls he grew up with are becoming stars far beyond his reach. And that thought leaves him strangely uneasy. The following day, the entire school is still buzzing about Diamond's performance. Students can't stop talking about the concert, praising the duo's talent and discussing how quickly they've risen to fame. Even though Diamond debuted less than a year ago, they've already become one of the most talked about idol units in the country. To everyone else, Setsuna and Arisa are celebrities. To Kazuma, they're simply the girls he's known since childhood. When one of his classmates casually mentions that fact, the room instantly explodes with jealousy. His friends can't believe that someone as ordinary as Kazuma is close to two beautiful idols. Some even accuse him of secretly living every guy's dream. Kazuma, however, couldn't care less. To him, nothing has changed. Or at least that's what he tells himself. Then, just as the conversation reaches its peak, the classroom door suddenly opens. Standing there is Setsuna herself. The entire class freezes. The cheerful idol greets Kazuma with a bright smile as though visiting his classroom is the most normal thing in the world. Kazuma asks why she's here when she should be preparing for work. Setsuna casually explains that she has some free time before her afternoon schedule. Before anyone can recover from the shock, another familiar face appears. Arisa. Unlike the energetic Setsuna, Arisa remains calm and composed. Still, she walks directly toward Kazuma without hesitation. The classroom immediately descends into chaos. Kazuma congratulates both girls on their successful concert, praising their performance and telling them how incredible they looked on stage. Setsuna lights up with happiness. Arisa quietly thanks him, though her slightly embarrassed expression reveals she appreciates the compliment more than she'd like to admit. When Kazuma confidently declares that they'll become top idols someday, both girls blush. Despite their success, neither believes they've reached the top yet. Still, hearing those words from Kazuma means more to them than any praise from fans. As the atmosphere softens, Setsuna suddenly remembers something important. She quickly reaches into her bag. Kazuma assumes she's about to hand him a souvenir or perhaps a snack. Instead, she pulls out a thick envelope packed with cash. Then she happily hands it to him. "Here's your monthly allowance." The classroom falls silent. Every student stares in complete disbelief. Meanwhile, Kazuma calmly accepts the envelope and thanks her as if this happens every month. Because it does. His classmates completely lose their minds. One of the most popular girls in school is casually giving him a huge amount of money. And somehow Kazuma acts like it's perfectly normal. Setsuna tilts her head in confusion. She genuinely doesn't understand why everyone is reacting so strongly. Then she reveals the truth. The reason she became an idol was simple. She wanted to make life easier for Kazuma. The entire class is left speechless. With a warm smile, Setsuna explains that she wants to support him however she can and fulfill any request he might have. Her confession leaves everyone stunned. Some of the students immediately accuse her of spoiling him. Others argue that she's practically raising him at this point. Naturally, they turn toward Arisa for help. Surely she'll put a stop to this. Instead, Arisa asks a different question. What do you even spend all that money on? Kazuma casually lists expensive games, PC upgrades, luxury food, and other hobbies. Then he jokes that he spends everything on gacha pulls and online donations before running out of money. His classmates nearly collapse from disbelief. Arisa sighs. She already knows he's hopeless. Then she does something that shocks everyone even more. She pulls out her own envelope. Without changing her expression, she places it in Kazuma's hands. "This is your allowance from me." Silence. Absolute silence. The classroom can no longer process what's happening. Kazuma happily accepts the money and thanks her. Then, without thinking, he tells Arisa he loves her. For the first time all day, Arisa visibly loses her composure. Flustered, she immediately denies being happy about the compliment. Unfortunately for her, the bright red blush on her face exposes everything. Trying to recover, she declares that Kazuma is completely incapable of surviving without her support. The statement is supposed to sound harsh. Instead, it only makes her affection even more obvious. At the end of the discussion, both girls proudly announce that they'll continue supporting Kazuma no matter what happens. To them, taking care of him is simply natural. To everyone else, the situation is completely insane. But this bizarre relationship didn't begin yesterday. It started years ago, back when they were children. Even as a young boy, Kazuma noticed something that bothered him. Every adult around him looked exhausted. His parents worked constantly. His teachers were always stressed. Everyone seemed trapped in an endless cycle of labor. Watching them made Kazuma reach a shocking conclusion. He didn't want to work. Ever. If adulthood meant constantly being tired and overworked, then he wanted no part of it. Instead, he dreamed of a carefree life where he could relax forever. The only problem was money. Lots of money. One day during an elementary school field trip, Kazuma sat alone while thinking seriously about how to achieve that dream. That's when two girls approached him. Setsuna and Arisa. Concerned that he was by himself, they invited him to join them. That simple encounter changed all three of their lives. Over time, the girls grew incredibly attached to him. Arisa took on the role of a strict caretaker. She constantly reminded him to behave properly and looked after him whenever he was careless. Setsuna was the complete opposite. She openly spoiled him whenever she could. Before long, both girls were competing to see who could take better care of him. Without realizing it, Kazuma became the center of their world. Then one day, Kazuma finally revealed his dream. He admitted that he didn't want to work when he grew up. Instead, he wanted someone else to support him financially for the rest of his life. The request was so ridiculous that Arisa froze on the spot. Setsuna, however, immediately agreed. No hesitation. No questions. Just complete acceptance. Kazuma was overwhelmed with joy. And from that absurd promise, the strange relationship between the three officially began. Back in the present, Kazuma walks home feeling satisfied with his life. To him, being supported by Setsuna and Arisa is simply the reward for maintaining a strong childhood friendship. Unfortunately, the rest of the school doesn't see things that way. Rumors have spread everywhere. Many students have even given him a nickname, Trashera. As he thinks about this, an upperclassman suddenly calls out to him. The student's name is Renji Asheri. Unlike everyone else who gossips from a distance, Renji approaches Kazuma directly. After introducing himself, Renji asks a simple question. How did he get so close to two famous idols? Jealous of Kazuma's situation, Renji reveals that he plans to get close to another pair of idols himself. Kazuma simply shrugs. Renji assumes Kazuma must be enjoying the attention and admiration that comes with being surrounded by beautiful girls. But Kazuma immediately shuts that idea down. To him, Setsuna and Arisa aren't idols. They're family. They're friends. Their appearance was never the reason he stayed close to them. Curious, Renji asks what matters most to him. Kazuma answers without hesitation. Money. Renji nearly falls over. After all the emotional talk about friendship and trust, Kazuma casually admits that his favorite thing about their success is the financial support it provides. Kazuma then asks Renji about his own future plans. Renji says he'll probably go to college, get a job, and become a working adult. Hearing that, Kazuma sighs. To him, Renji is simply another person willingly entering the endless cycle of work. Kazuma explains his philosophy. Why spend your life working when you can build relationships with people who genuinely care about you? Why chase temporary desires when you can pursue lasting comfort? His ideal future is simple. Setsuna and Arisa continue succeeding as idols. He continues living comfortably. Everyone wins. Or at least that's how Kazuma sees it. After delivering one final lecture about happiness and self-worth, Kazuma leaves. Renji remains standing there, completely unable to understand how someone can be so shamelessly honest. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Setsuna and Arisa are thinking about Kazuma. Setsuna quietly reflects on her promise to support him forever. The thought alone makes her smile. Arisa reaches a similar conclusion. No matter how irresponsible Kazuma may be, she wants to continue taking care of him. But their feelings are beginning to change. What started as affection is slowly becoming something far more intense. Alone in her room, Setsuna blushes while imagining a future where Kazuma belongs only to her. Arisa isn't much different. Though she hides it better, she secretly believes she's the only one capable of properly caring for him. Both girls are becoming increasingly possessive, increasingly obsessed, and completely unaware that the other feels the same way. As for Kazuma, he's busy thinking about video games, gacha banners, and what he'll buy with his latest allowance. Completely oblivious to the dangerous feelings growing around him. And that ignorance may end up becoming his biggest problem yet.